As we covered yesterday, Montreal has beat Carolina. They've snatched that last wildcard spot in the East from the Blue Jackets. That means the NHL playoff bracket is set. It's time to talk matchups. We'll look at all that and more in today's video. Today's video is brought to you by HelloFresh. First of all, love doing these. They send me boxes of free food. But with HelloFresh, you can skip the grocery store chaos, skip fast food, and plan your weekly meals with just a few clicks. Everything, I mean everything you need, is delivered straight to your door, making it easy to try delicious recipes sourced directly from Canadian farmers. There's two things I really love about HelloFresh. First of all, it's a great incentive to try new types of food. You get a complete meal without the need to try to understand maybe new ingredients or worry about creating food waste when you order too much. If you're like me with a family, you can also mix in reliable classics. My kids are very picky. As an example, in this last order, we had some really great tacos, spaghetti. I'm actually eating some leftovers now as I record. As an aside, also a great way to learn how to cook. The instructions are simple, everything's pre-portioned. If you want to try HelloFresh, you can get up to 20 meals for free, plus free sides for life and free shipping on your first order at hellofresh.ca with code ECK. The offer is for new and returning subscribers who have been canceled for more than 270 days. That's 20 free meals plus free sides for life at hellofresh.ca with code ECK. Give it a try. It's food you need to eat. All right, so let's take a look at the playoff matchups. And for those wondering, yes, we will be doing a bracket challenge for ECK Hockey. I've posted it in the community tab. It'll also be in the description below the sponsored segment. But let's go through my thoughts on the matchup. And for once, we'll start out west. That's right, an East Coast fella is going to give some shine to the worst coast. And we're going to go number one, Jets versus the wildcard Blues. And even though the Blues are one of the hottest teams coming into the playoffs, they had that 12-game streak, I think that heat is gone, and I think this is the most likely sweep in round one. Hate me all you want, it's fine, but I do think the Blues have cooled off a bit, and the Jets are still the best team in the league. They've been so consistent all year. Connor Hellebuyck has been on demon mode, and if they can't get through the first round, I don't know what you do with this team. This is the best iteration of the new Winnipeg Jets. Once again, they won the President's Trophy. They're the best team in the league. They are poised for a very deep run. But on the other hand, you don't have to look further than the Bruins 2 years ago. 65 wins. They lose to the Panthers round one. But that Panthers team was also about to pop, where I feel like this Blues team overachieved and is trying to hang on to something that's no longer there. But I love hockey and I love upsets, so prove me wrong, but for me, it's a sweep for the Jets in round one. Next, we've got what I think is going to be an excellent series. I'm salivating just thinking about it. Juicy drama here. The Dallas Stars and Mikko Rantanen versus the Colorado Avalanche and Martin Necas. Such a couple high-powered teams, both with cup aspirations, though I tip my hat here to the Stars in Game 7. You already know we're big fans of Mac here in the channel, and it's hard to pick against the reigning league MVP, but while the Avs have aspirations, I think the Stars are cup contenders. I just love the top end of this team. Rantanen, Duchesne, Robertson, even Tyler Seguin is back at the right time. And speaking of demon mode, they have Jake Ottinger. I still remember that 21-22 year where he took the Calgary Flames to the edge of defeat in a 7-game series where he put up a .954 across 7 games, which is ludicrous. Ottinger is one of my favorite goalies. I think he gives the edge to the Stars, even though Colorado has improved with Mackenzie Blackwood. Next up is the series everyone's tired of, Kings and Oilers. This is the 4th time in a row we've gotten this round 1 series, and so far Edmonton has been king. They've taken all 3 so far. However, the Kings are no slouch, and for the first time against the Oilers, they're coming in as the home team, and that does mean something. I, however, am still taking the Oilers in this one. Brandon, however, is bailing on the Oilers wagon. He says Kings in 7. That being said, I do think if there's any year you want to play the McDavid Oilers, it's right now in round 1 with their team bumped and bruised heading into the first game of the series. Cousin of the channel, Ekholm, is already slated to miss the whole first round, which is massive. Zach Hyman is dinged up. He might play game 1. At this point, I don't think he'll be 100%. And for a player like Zach Hyman, not being 100% when his game is so physical, so dirty in front of the net, not great. I, however, am not going to bet against McJesus in round 1, especially after what happened last year, so he gets my pick. And for the final series of the West, we've got the Wild versus the Golden Knights and their crazy playoff ice capades. Now, in my opinion, this is the one that I find hardest to pick. It should be Vegas beating the Wild in 5 or 6, but don't bet against a team that can rally behind a legend like Flower and go on a run. I mean, I don't think he's going to get any playing time. Philip Gustafsson's been great all year. Kirill Kaprizov is still shaking his head at those who say Minnesota doesn't have a true star. But I still think Vegas is the better team overall, and I think in the playoffs that will show. But as we're done out west, before we fly home, quick recap. Jets in 4, Stars in 7. I said Oilers in 7, Brandon's got Kings in 7. Then lastly, Golden Knights in 5. To the east, and it's the Canadian matchup everyone wants to hear about, rather the Canadian matchup, as the Habs are sneaking into that last wildcard spot and get the glorious opportunity to play Ovi and the Caps. This is another one Brandon and I disagreed on. I'm taking goal-scoring leader Ovi in what might be his last great run, although who knows at this point. I think that they just outmatch Montreal, and I'm pretty confident. Watching Montreal, especially over the last 5 games, they're fun, they're exciting, they can score. They don't have a whole lot going on defensively. That's why I take Ovi. Brandon, on the other hand, loves his underdogs and is taking the Habs in 7. The one thing I will say is Ovi last year in the playoffs disappeared to a completely embarrassing degree. It was against a much, much better Rangers team, but he had like 1 or 2 shots all series. He was playing controller off mode. We did an entire video on it on the channel if you want to check that out. It was embarrassing. I don't expect we'll get the same lack of effort this year. Brandon picks the Habs because he likes their momentum heading into the playoffs, and he wants to give a shout out to everyone on the team who was there in 2021. Suzuki, Josh Anderson, Gallagher, Armia, Jake Evans. That's a solid amount of dudes who complement the new young skill nicely. Especially Gally. He's got a ton of experience with the team. 71 playoff games under his belt for the Habs. He's probably one of my favorite Montreal players right now, and he must know how to get the boys going. That's what Brandon's betting on. But next, another one that for me is a potential sweep territory is the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils. And yes, just because the Rangers didn't make the playoffs, I still get to be a hater. I just hate my team now too. I think Carolina gets to bring the brooms out for this one. They're another team I have as a cup contender, and I just don't see the Devils getting past them. They're still pretty green when it comes to the playoffs. They've had parts of this year where they've looked terrible, and we know Carolina needs to blow in the second round, so they've got to get through the first. I like the additions they've made. Obviously, it's been a weird year for them in the trade block, but I think Seth Jarvis is really coming into his own. He's probably my favorite Hurricane right now. I'm mostly curious about goaltending. But next up, we have the Battle of Ontario, Leafs and Sens. This is one I think should be handedly won by the Leafs. I think they're taking it in 5 or 6. However, I don't know if it'll be an easy out for them as they hate playing this type of team. Ottawa is cut from the same scrappy cloth as Boston and the Panthers. They're going to go kicking and screaming until you actually boot them out of the playoffs if you can, and it wouldn't surprise me for the Leafs to have another Game 7 on their hands. Hopefully not. I've got faith the Leafs can go on a run. They've got the best goaltending and defense they've had in recent years, though their defense is a little banged up. But if they get through Ottawa, they've still got to go through, well, one Florida team, which I'll get to in just a second. Either way, very excited to see Giroux back in the playoffs. Very excited to see for the first time Brady Tkachuk. He was, I've said this multiple times, I think one of the best players in the Four Nations tournament. Very, very excited to see how he plays in what will be a heightened physical hockey of the playoffs. But the Battle of Florida, Lightning Panthers. This is another great series that could go the distance. I think the Panthers take it, but it could be in 7. Both these teams have a ton of experience. Both are hungry to prove that their team still works. The Panthers obviously are coming back to defend the title. They don't want to go out in round 1, and the Lightning just swung big in free agency with Gensel, and of course, still have big players like Kucherov and Vasilevsky, so they're no joke. Both teams are a couple of wagons. It's so impressive what Tampa's managed to do over the last decade with their consistency. I mean, you look at the roster last year and this year, the pieces are all there. Sam Reinhart, Tkachuk, Barkov, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Rodriguez, Bobrovsky with another good year. They're adding Brad Marchand. I am taking the Panthers in this one, but honestly, I don't care who wins. I'll just sit back and watch 2 great hockey teams beat each other up for hopefully 7 games and enjoy every minute of it. So, quick recap of the East. I've got Washington in 5. Brandon's got the Habs in 7. Then it's the Hurricanes with the sweep, Leafs in 6, Panthers in 7, and Just like that, our brackets are filled out, but what about the rest of the way? Well, that's a video for later. This is how we're starting our bracket in the bracket challenge. Again, peep the video description to support the channel by checking out my HelloFresh link and, of course, our bracket challenge as well. But that's all I've got. Devils fans, let me have it. See you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, and if you want more content, there's a new basketball, football, and hockey video on screen right now. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.